all your classes in, even over the holiday break. Other things we have coming up, we have our next access cycle happening in the spring, in April. So if it's something you've ever thought about, even just that may be something I want to do someday, but not really sure, I'd love to have that conversation with you. Access was an absolutely life-changing program for me, so I may be a bit biased, but it's one of my favorite things to talk about, one of my favorite things to help enroll people in. So let me know if you have any questions, and we can have that discussion after class. Let's get started in child's pose. Take your knees super wide, toes come to touch behind you. Bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. Start to create your breathing right here. So a full breath in. Notice the pause at the top. And then a full breath out, coming to empty and noticing that pause at the bottom. Continue with your cycle of breath, whatever it takes to fill your lungs completely, and then whatever it takes to empty them completely. Start here to add that constriction to the back of your throat, moving your tongue just a millimeter or two back. You're going to start to create a sound here on your exhales like the ocean. Something to keep us anchored to the present moment and anchored in practice with each other. So breathe in such a way that you can hear it. Maybe your neighbor can hear it. And if you can hear the yogi's breath next to you, maybe add yours to it. So we're all starting to breathe in sync. Last one right here, fill up completely. Empty out completely. Downward facing dog. And this is probably your first down dog of the day. So go ahead and walk it out. Bend one knee and then the other. Stretch out your toes and the bottoms of your feet. Yeah, maybe swaying the head side to side. Add your breath to the movement. So on an inhale here, lift your heels up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring them down to the floor. Two more together, fill up, lift up. Exhale down. One more, fill up. Exhale to empty. Move feet to hands. Ragdoll. Pull the pit of your belly all the way to your spine. Create that big C-shaped curve in your back. And allow your head to drop here. Yeah, whatever it took to make it to this space, whether in studio or on your mat at home, kind of just drop that here. You did the hard part by showing up. Nice breath. Keep building right here. Press your feet down. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. Extended mountain, reach up, look up. Hands at heart center. You decide right here how you're showing up for the next 75 minutes. And then maybe how you're showing up the rest of the day. A little I am statement. I am strong. I am present. I am. Something that means something to you. Something motivating. And we'll seal those intentions with 3 ohms together. Big breath in. Extended mountain, breathe in, reach up, fold, empty out. Halfway lift here, fill your lungs. Chaturanga, step or hop back to high plank. Lower down, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breath in and out. Feel the lift here between your shoulder blades as you breathe in. Exhale, send your chest back towards your knees. One more like that. Fill. Empty out. Move feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain. Press down through all four corners of your feet. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Step or hop back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Blow it out. Two more. And empty. Last one, fill up. Empty. Look forward, move forward. Halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain. Look up, maybe go back. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. If you're going straight to low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breath in and out. Two more. Last one, fill up. Empty out. Move forward, half lift. Fold. Extended mountain drishti to the ceiling. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga, step or hop. Upward facing dog, drishti up. Downward facing dog, place your drishti at the back of your mat. Breath in and out. One more here. Empty, feet to hands, halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose, sink deep, reach high. Fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog, warrior one, right side. Press the big toe mounds of both feet down. Chaturanga as you exhale. Upward facing, downward facing dog, left side. Step it through on the pause. Inhale, rise. Chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog. Breath in and out. One more, fill. Empty, feet to hands, half lift. Fold. Chair pose, press your heels down to the floor. Fold. Half lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, expand your chest. Downward facing dog, warrior one, right side. Step it through, fingertips up. Chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog, left side. Step and reach, drishti up. Chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog, big breath in, empty out. Two more. Last one, fill and empty, move forward, half lift, fold, chair pose, sink lower, fold, half lift, chaturanga. Find your pause when your elbows are at 90. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right side warrior one. Inhale up, chaturanga. Up dog, down dog, left side. Step and reach, drishti to the ceiling. Chaturanga, flow through with your breath. Up dog and pause, down dog. We've got one more sun bee. Breath in and empty. One more, fill up. Blow it out like you mean it. Move forward, halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Take the arms a little wider. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Up dog, down dog, warrior one, right side. Press your feet down, come lower in your lunge. Chaturanga. Upward facing, down dog, left side, really low in your lunge here this time. Knee at almost 90. Chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog. Breath in. Clear that out. Lift your right leg up behind you. Press it to the wall behind you like you're going to kick it down. Flex your top foot. All 5 toes here dialed down towards your mat. So we've got both hip points facing down toward the floor. Bend your knee. Now peel open that top hip. Stay here for the stretch, or place your drishti to where you want your foot to land and flip on over. Flip dog. Reach the center of your chest and the center of your hips straight up toward the ceiling. Now take your drishti straight up toward the ceiling, maybe toward the front of the room. Last big breath. Both hands down, side plank, right arm down, left arm to the ceiling. Yeah, so right here, you've got that hand down, it's your foundation. Press down into it. Like you're pressing the floor away from your body. Separate your heels. One more big breath. Chaturanga. I see we're shaking already. Love it. Upward facing, downward facing dog. Breath in. Clear it out. Lift your left leg up behind you. Extend the whole leg. All 5 toes down toward the mat. Square your hips. Press down into both hands equally. Bend your knee, open your hip. Stay here. Or look to where you want your foot to land. Flip on over. Both feet land on 12 o'clock here right away. Everyone bring your toes together just a little bit more. Nice. So knees tracking straight back toward the back of your mat. Lift your chest up. One more breath. Both hands down, side plank, left arm down. Press through the heel of your hand. And this part of your hand where your thumb and your forefinger meet. Keep your breath moving. Nice job. Last breath in. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Big breath in. Empty out what you don't need. Step your right foot forward for crescent lunge. Lift the sole of your foot up off the mat so the heel is facing up toward the ceiling. And then give yourself some room. Come down further in your lunge. If you notice that your heel is like way back here, not over the balls of your foot, you've got more room to come down. Yes, your legs are longer than you think. Lift up, pelvis to crown, hands to heart, center revolve to the right. Your choice here, if the hands are staying together at center or maybe they open. If you've got them in at center, press in and bring your thumbs closer to your chest to really expand the whole chest and upper back. And now that you've got that space between your shoulders, press your thoracic spine forward through your chest. Nice. Last breath here to lengthen. Twist it out. Back to crescent lunge. Warrior two. Stay low in that front leg. And take a look here from your heel on your front foot all the way. You could draw a line to the back foot And that line is going to land right at the arch of the foot or the heel. Nice. Lift the front of the pelvis toward the belly button. Pull your shoulders straight back. Extended side angle. Keep all of that length on both sides of your body here. If you're going for the bind, reach that top arm around, peel your shoulder open. Nice open chest here. Last breath. Reach both arms to the front of the room. Chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Fill your lungs. Empty them out. Step your left foot forward, crescent lunge. Lift up the sole of your back foot. And then feel for, maybe even look for the heel to be right over top of the ball mound. Really strong in your right leg. Front ribs, pull them back into center here. For most of us, when our arms go up, the ribs flare out. Nice adjustments. Hands to heart center. Keep your length. Revolve to the left. Intentional about your arms here. So hands pressing in or really extending the arms all the way from one set of fingertips to the other. Lengthen out on your inhale. Exhale, twist a little more. Back to crescent lunge. Warrior two. Stay nice and low. If that front leg needs a break, sure, give it one real quick and then come right back down. Drishti settled right over top of your fingertips. And even here, pull those front ribs in towards center so we're stacking them right over top of the hips. One more breath. Extended side angle. Really reach your right arm towards where like the wall sconces are or the top of the door frame. Yes. So it's headed right over top of your ear. Last breath here. Reach both arms forward like you've got a big beach ball between your hands. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Clear it out. Move feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose. Sink down deep. Knees as close to 90 as they can get. Look down. See that you can see your toes in front of your knees. And if not, sit down and back a little further. Bring your hips toward the back of your mat. So much that if you weren't reaching forward, you might feel like you're going to fall backwards. Nice. Hands to heart center. Twist to your right. Knees stay in one line here. Press the hands together or take them out wide. Intentional all the way to the fingertips. Breath in. Twist it out. Back to chair. Hands to heart center. Twist to the left. Stay low. You've got it. You've got everything you need here in your drishti and in your breath. So eyes to one spot. Breath moving intentionally. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twist. Back to chair, sit lower, and fold. Fingers to toes forward, fold. Peace fingers wrap around your big toes. Little bend, or maybe a big bend in both knees here. Whatever feels restful to you. I know for myself, after the long chair twists, I don't necessarily feel that a bend in the knees is restful anymore. So little tiny bend in the knees, and then send your sit bones all the way up. You'll feel a real nice stretch through the hamstrings. Release your toes. Inhale, chair pose. We're going to move with breath here this time. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to heart center, twist to the right. Inhale, open. Exhale, twist a little more. Inhale, back to chair. Hands to heart center, twist to the left. Inhale to open. Exhale, twist. Back to chair, sit lower, and fold. Palms to toes forward, fold. Gorilla pose. We'll place the backs of our hands down on the mat and simply step onto the palms. Drop your head, let your shoulders round forward. Little or big bend in the knees here. Maybe even allowing your belly and your chest to rest down on your thighs. Reorganize your breath. Full breath in. Exhale it out. Release your feet, crow pose. Crow, goddess, maybe you want to take this to an inversion this morning. You choose. If you're going for the crow, wrists parallel to the front of your mat. And no matter which version of this you're in, pull into center line. So whether you're in crow or goddess, send your elbows out into your knees. Pull your knees in towards your elbows. And if you're finding we're super bendy, flexy, really chilling in the goddess squat, lift up a few inches, challenge your glutes here and your thighs. Press down through your heels. One more breath. Chaturanga, step or hop back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Exhale it out. Move feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain. Reach up, look up. Eagle pose, right side. Put in and keep present everything you need here to create equanimity in your pose, which is just your drishti, your focal point, and your breath. Place your eyes on a specific thing that you could name. Unwind, switch sides, left arm under, left leg over. Flex your lifted foot. Okay, maybe even wrap it around the back of the calf, get even more squeezed into center. Lift your shoulders here or your elbows here up to shoulder height. Switch sides, eagle on the right. Right arm under, right leg over. And when you find your eyes wandering, which they'll do, simply notice and then bring them back to that one spot. Switch sides, eagle on the left. And nice focus, smooth, thoughtful transition. Sit down a little bit lower. Yeah, most of the time in these equanimity poses, the further down you bring your center of gravity, which is your hips, the easier the balance gets. Release. Standing leg raise, right side. So find your feet parallel, grab for your knee or maybe a toe, your choice. Strap is a great option if you're taking the foot all the way out. Externally rotate to the right, gaze to the left. Create 90-degree angles here. So from your hip all the way out to your knee is parallel to your mat. Yeah, and then flex the lifted foot. Nice. Bring it back to center, airplane. Spread your fingertips. Reach for your heel. All 5 of those toes dialed down toward the mat, nice even hips, beautiful. Keep that alignment, open up half moon. A great spot for fingertips on the floor or maybe a block. Lift your lifted heel just another inch. If you're going for sugar cane, go ahead and bend the knee, reach for the ankle. One more breath right here. Both feet to the mat, shake that out. Let's do it on the other side. Left side, standing leg raise. Grab for the knee or the toe. Hips in one line, externally rotate. Gaze to the opposite side. And for most of us, as soon as we start to rotate, what happens is that hip that's lifted tends to want to lift way up toward the ceiling. Maybe place the hands on the hips just to feel that they're in the same spot. Nice adjustments. Bring your knee and your drishti back to center, airplane. Little tiny bend in your standing knee, and you'll feel that that allows you to find a lift. You can actively press into the floor so the chest, the belly, everything above the waist gets light and lifted. Half moon. Keep that sense of lift here. Don't lock out the bottom knee. Lift your heel another inch. Last breath. Both feet to the mat. Plant them. Take an extended mountain breathe in and up. Dancer pose, right side. Dancer or standing bow. Grab for the inside of your right ankle, soft part of your elbow facing out, thumb toward the ceiling. Bring your knees together and then send your shins straight back. Can you take this to the degree that's right for you? Lift the pit of the belly all the way in and up. And switch sides. Again on this side, soft part of the elbow facing out, thumb toward the ceiling. Press it back and stretch forward. Little bend in the standing knee, yes. Breathe across your chest, fill completely. And then empty both feet to the mat. Tree pose, right side. And take your foot anywhere you like it here except for the inside of your knee. So anywhere from your ankle to the top of your thigh is fair game. Create your center line here by pressing your foot into your leg and your leg back into your foot. Start with hands at heart center. Find your center, your grounded spot. And then express the pose. Any arm variation of your choosing. Take the gaze toward the ceiling. And then maybe close the eyes here for the last 2 breaths. And if the tree wiggles, that's great. That's how they stay strong and they don't bend in storms. Both feet to the mat, switch sides. Start by creating that center line first by pressing in. And then lift from the pelvis all the way to the crown. You choose the arm variation, maybe something different on this side. Take your gaze up, close it here. for 2 breaths. And then laugh at yourself when you fall out, no worries. Both feet to the ground. Inhale, extended mountain, reach up, look up, and fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Right side triangle. Take up all the room on your mat, front to back. Press down in both feet, big toe mounds, the outer edges of both feet. And then send both sides of your body toward the front of your mat. Yeah, so we're really getting long on both sides here, even the right side. Unlock that front knee, press into your heel. Side facing wide leg forward fold, 10 toes to the left side of your mat. And yogi's choice here, if there's an inversion that needs to be added here for your practice to feel like your own, take that on. Maybe some lunges. Love that. Or maybe a twist side to side. Lots of different things happening here in the studio. Get complete in your side to side movements. Inversions, make your way down. Press down in your feet. Inhale, rise to stand. Namaste, front facing forward fold. So we've got that mini warrior one stance here. Grab a bind behind your back and hinge forward from the hips. And here we are in our grounding sequence. So just a thing to know, keep your feet planted on the floor. That's our intention here, is to press down so we can find the lift. If the heel of that back foot here feels like it's kind of up off the ground, not able to ground down, take a slightly shorter stance, bringing your feet a little bit closer together. Nice adjustments. Twist your triangle. Left arm comes down toward the floor, right arm to a T or toward the ceiling. Keep your hips level right where they are. Yeah, and we're twisting here toward our right side. Lengthen on your inhale. Twist a little more on the exhale. Lengthen out. Chaturanga, both hands to the ground. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Clear it out. Left side triangle. Long stance front to back. Yeah, and maybe even before you hinge forward here, lift both sides of the body up to your ears and then start to become horizontal in your torso. Love that. Lift the toes, press the feet down. Pull that top shoulder onto your back. Side facing wide leg forward fold. You might take a bind behind your back this time, interlacing your fingers, and then allow your shoulders and your hands to spill forward. A strap or a towel between the hands is a nice addition. And if you're finding here that you're kind of super bendy, flexy, the shoulders don't really feel like they have anywhere to go, bend your elbows a little bit. Yeah, give them a little bit more space to open. And then let the head fall to the floor. Release your bind. Inhale to stand using your strong core. Namaste, front facing forward fold. Your choice of a bind, or even no bind. If your fingertips are coming down toward the floor, we're still lifting the shoulders up to the ceiling. So pull them together on your back. You actually feel your scapula, your shoulder blades moving together around your spine. Tuck your chin, let your neck get long. Keep your hips right where they are. Twist your triangle. Right arm down, left arm to a T or toward the ceiling. Maybe your gaze follows your hand, but just as far as is comfortable for your neck. And then tuck the chin, pull the jawbone straight back toward your neck to lengthen. So your spine is long from tail to crown. Last breath in. Chaturanga, flow through your vinyasa. Upward facing dog with a big breath in. Downward facing dog, let that go. Breath in here. Exhale it out. Move forward to a high plank. And we'll be here for just a moment. So if the knees need to come down for support, bring them down. Pull the pit of your belly straight back towards your spine. Lift the front of your pelvis up towards your sternum. Yes, you've got so much stability and strength right here at center. You could stay for another minute, 2 minutes, if that's where we were going. And maybe we will, who knows? Pull in so you're prepared for it. And then lower all the way down to your mat. Yeah, let out a sigh at the bottom if that's needed. Press your hips down, locust pose. Fingertips all the way back towards your heels. Find as much length as you can here. Maybe the toes lift off the floor. Yeah, maybe the chest lifts off the floor. Or I love that modification with the spider fingers on the floor for a little more stability. Last breath. Lower all the way down. Right cheek to the mat, windshield wiper your feet. Locust number 2, we'll do a closed chain locust this time. So bring the balls of your feet to the floor, just like your chaturanga feet. Press them down. Inhale, lift the top half of your body. Yeah, now that you've got that extra stability in the bottom half, take your hands and reach them all the way forward. Be a super person. Yeah, you got it. You're flying across the room. Pull your belly in and up. One more breath. Lower down, left cheek to the mat, windshield wiper. Floor bow. Your choice here if you're going to grab one ankle or both. We'll grab the outsides of the ankles, flex the feet, and send the shins all the way to the back of the room. Allow that pressing back of your shins to be what's lifting the top half of your body here. Pull the shoulders together on the back. One more breath. Lower down on your exhale. Take the feet side to side. Floor bow number 2. Opposite leg or both again. Squeeze your knees together and then send the shins back. So I know in my body that squeezing of the knees together really allows the low back to be open in this pose. One more big breath. Lower all the way to your mat. Take your ankles together, big circle one way and then the other. Kind of massage out the top of your quads. Bring your hands to your lowest ribs. Press down, upward facing dog. Inhale as you rise. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Clear it out. Camel pose. Bring your knees down to the mat. We're going to stack ourselves up so our shoulders are over our hips, hips over top of our knees, hands in your imaginary back pockets. Lift your chest to the ceiling. And if it feels good on the neck here, maybe tuck the chin and let the head slide back. If you're taking this into a larger back bend or reaching for your ankles, one alignment tool we want to keep in place is the knees right underneath of the hips. So it's almost like you're pressing your hips forward, but still keeping all of that length so the low back can stay open. It's a bit of a tug of war. On your inhale, come on up and out. Sit back on your heels for a moment for high hero. Maybe tuck the toes under, give them a little stretch. And we'll take camel number 2. Inhale as you send your chest up. And then you choose to the degree that you take the back bend. Really, we want to look for the length. So there may not be much of a back bend happening at all, except for right between your shoulder blades. And that's perfect. That's exactly where we want to be. On your inhale, rise up and out, sit back on your heels. This time, leave the toes untucked, and we're gonna lift one knee and then the other, just to get a little stretch for the top of the feet. See what they're up to this morning. Sometimes my feet love this, sometimes they hate it, so just kind of take the temperature, see what's going on. Now bring the feet all the way around for bridge pose. Flat on your back with your knees to the ceiling. Start with your feet hips width distance and then press up. Bridge number 1, hips up to the sky. Okay, great place to add a block between the knees. One more breath. And lower down. Take the knees side to side if they need it. Press down, rise up. Bridge number 2. Press down through your heels here. If there's any squeezing or tension happening in the glutes, see if you can let that go. And feel for the work happening here in the back of your legs. Last big breath in. Lower down to your mat. Bridge or wheel, you have got 6 more back bends and you decide what to do with them here. Set your hands if you're going for wheel. Press up and stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, big breath in. Empty it out. Number 2, inhale, rise. Toes come a little bit closer together. Yeah, for most of us, as soon as we push up, those toes lift and want to spread out. Bring them back to center. Lower down. Breath in. And out. Back bend number 3, your choice. Lift on up. Maybe a leg lifts this time. For 3, 2, 1, lower down, big breath in. Exhale out. Number 4, rise. Yeah, take the opposite leg to the ceiling, really flex your feet at the top. Squeeze the knees energetically together here. Lower down. 2 more. Breath in and out. Inhale, rise. Stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, breath in and out. Last one, biggest one, bridge or wheel. So much length here in your bridge, all the way from your shoulders to your knees. Press everything that's touching the floor down. One more breath. And lower. Nice work. Supta Baddha Konasana. Feet together, soles touch, knees out wide. Place a hand on your belly and a hand on your heart. Yeah, send a little gratitude. You feel your heart working. All of that work that you've done, you've created, has gotten you to this point. Send your body some gratitude for getting you here. Feet to the ceiling, dead bug. Grab for the outer edges of your feet or the backs of your thighs. Sacrum to the floor here, so that large bony plate at the bottom of your low back, let that rest on the floor. It's kind of up in the air, might be a great place to grab the backs of your thighs. Feet all the way to the ceiling. Here we are in stability. Let's take all that work you've created, put it in a container so you can take it to the rest of your day. Lift your feet up, flex them. Right leg comes halfway down toward the mat. On your next exhale, switch. Your pace with your breath. And then work with the exhale. Pull the pit of the belly to your spine every time you breathe out, and use those muscles that you're engaging in your low belly to make the switch with your legs. Nice. Again, your pace for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Send your feet up. 60-30 lifts. Exhale, lower your feet 30 degrees toward the floor. 30 more. Hover 2 inches above the mat. Lift your shoulders. Take a look at your toes. Send them back up. Exhale, lower them 30 degrees. 30 more. Hover right above the mat. Take a look at your toes. Little flutter kicks for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send them up. Last one. Exhale, lower 30. 30 more. Down toward the floor. Take a look at your toes. Pendulum swing them side to side. Low and slow. Turn your listening ears on. Lift them 30 degrees. Yeah, now another 30. All the way up. Give your knees a hug. Little circles one way and then the other. Abdominal twists. Stack your knees right above your hips and challenge them to come no closer to your face than this. So this is going to keep our low belly abdominals engaged the entire time. Opposite elbow to opposite knee, your choice on the pace, go for it. Flex your feet and really send them to the front of the room as you move side to side. Keep your low back pinned to the floor. And if you feel like it wants to lift up on either side, just take the legs a little bit further away from the floor. Yes. Really twist side to side. Get your obliques involved. For another 5, 4, you've got it in you. 2, 1, hug your knees. Rock forward and backward 3 times, and we'll meet in boat pose. Come to sit all the way on your sit bones. Heels on the floor or lifted. Chest toward the ceiling. Get as long in your spine as you can. Like, can you make some more space here between the bottom of your ribs and the tops of your hips? For another 3. Keep breathing. 2. And 1, hug your knees, roll back and forth. Make your way toward right side half pigeon on your belly or on your back. On your belly, that's going to look like taking your right knee all the way toward your right wrist, with your ankle over toward the left wrist. Keep your right foot flexed. That's going to keep any twisting or rotation out of your knee. And reorganize your breath right here. Recreate your Ujjayi breath. This is the point in the practice where it's like, okay, we're on the floor, things are easy or easier, but we still need the breath. And the function it plays here is really just keeping us in the present moment. The breath is something we can hear, something we can observe physically happening. Keep your breath moving at that steady pace and switch to the other side. Take your drishti 1 point at a time as you get there. Yeah, so thoughtful, mindful, even between the poses. One of my favorite things I've ever heard about transitions and like that space between is that where you are here is how you show up everywhere else. So if you can bring that sense of awareness to all those in-between pauses, even in the rest of life, like you're between tasks and you've just got a moment to chill, like who are you in that moment? That's how you show up everywhere. Move through down dog or just swing the right leg around. We'll move to double pigeon. So right leg on top, just like cross applesauce, except our knees and our feet are stacked. And here's a great opportunity for props. So depending on how your practice looks today, you might need some support underneath of a knee or maybe a foot that's way out in the ether. Get the support that you need. And lift from the pelvis to the crown. 3 big breaths. Switch sides, opposite leg on top. And then just a notice if the side looks and feels completely different than the other. It's one of the great things about being human. Sit bones down, lift all the way up. So you've got a long back of your spine. 3 breaths here. Unwind, frog pose. On your belly, on your back, maybe find some wall space if you want it. We want to create our body so we're in 90-degree angles. Feet flexed, knees at 90, and hips at 90. And then allow yourself to just kind of rest in the uncomfortableness. Got a little quiet, bring your breath back into the space. And at home, Jeffrey, bring your breath into the space. Allow the other people or creatures in the space to hear what you've got going on. If your belly's to the floor here, lift the pit of your belly all the way up and in so you can create a long, flat back. Nice adjustments. 3 more breaths right here. Gently make your way out of frog. First seated single leg extension. Right leg extends in front, left leg comes in like tree pose. Sit up on your sit bones. Reach for the ceiling on an inhale and fold on your exhale. Feel the fold coming from your hip creases here. So we want a really long spine, just kind of like we create in a forward fold when we're standing. So you're going to feel that the pelvis wants to tilt forward here. Let it. Send your sit bones behind you. Release your toes, switch sides. Breath in to lengthen, and exhale to fold. Even here in these poses where we're kind of still hanging out on the floor, can find a bit of vinyasa, some flow with your breath. Maybe on the inhales, lift up just a little bit. And on the exhale, see if there's more length to be found. Send the center of your chest forward towards your toes. Tuck your chin here to create that long neck. Release your toes. Seated forward fold, both legs in front together or out wide, your choice. Up on your sit bones, reach up and fold. Long spine here. So the sit bones are pressing back, heels press forward. Now take that ragdoll spine. So you're sending your mid back closer to the back of your mat, really rounding. Let your head drop, let your shoulders round forward. If you've got a hold of your toes, press them forward toward the front of the mat to lengthen out your arms. Tabletop or reverse plank. Soles of your feet on the floor, fingertips towards your heels, and we're just going to press the hips up to the ceiling. Again, if it feels good for the neck, tuck it in, let it slide back. One more breath. Lower all the way to the floor, fish pose. Place your block between your shoulder blades lengthwise. Or if you want to take this in the traditional fish way, you could always place your elbows behind you. Let your shoulders fall toward the floor here. And you choose the leg variation that works for you today. In studio here, we've got some knees to the ceiling, some Supta Baddha legs. Legs out long. Send your awareness here down to your low back, your lumbar spine, and just notice for any heat or tension that might be there. This is a great place if you feel that to just kind of lift the hips off the mat a little bit, send your tailbone down towards your heels, and then replace your hips. It's going to lengthen out the whole lumbar spine. And in these little back bends, we notice sometimes the breath gets caught way up here at the top of the chest. Can you start to bring those inhales down into your belly? Roll to your side to release your props or your elbows. Give yourself a moment with your back flat on the floor here. And then let's get upside down. Your choice of how that happens. Handstand, headstands at the front of your mat, or take up some wall space to play with. Shoulder stands, waterfall. Love the waterfalls happening with the block underneath. Those of us in waterfall, shoulder stand, anything where you've got your heels up, get your heels directly over your hips. Yeah, that's going to take any extra pressure that might be in your upper back or your neck and place it right over your hips where you've got these big bony structures that can handle all that weight. Flex your feet. Pull the outer shins in. A few more breaths for the full inversions, and then make your way down toward a child's pose. For those of us in shoulder stand or waterfall, take a plow if you'd like. Bring your toes down behind your head toward the floor. If your toes can touch, feel free to release your hands from your low back and maybe take a bind toward the floor. And then waterfalls and plows to deaf yogi if you'd like. Bring your knees down around your ears. Maybe give them a little bit of a squeeze. And roll all the way out onto your mat, slowly, mindfully. Hug your knees into your chest. And send them over to your right side for a supine twist. You can take your arms out to a T, gaze towards your left. Bring them back to center. Take your knees to the left, gaze to the right. In studio, you've all got a cold eye towel at the top right corner of your mat. Feel free to reach for that when you're ready for it. And when you feel complete here, bring your knees back to center. Take your feet out to the sides of your mat here. So the soles of your feet are on the mat, knees to the ceiling. Allow your left knee to come in toward the center of your mat. Yeah, so you're getting a little stretch on the outside of the left hip. If you'd like a little more here, you could take the right ankle and place it right over top above your left knee. And then bring both knees back up toward the ceiling. Drop your right knee in towards center. And then again here, if you'd like to increase that stretch, go ahead and place the left ankle right over top of your knee. Unwind your legs. Supta Baddha Konasana, the soles of your feet together, knees out wide. And we'll take 2 clearing breaths here together. Fill up through your nose and sigh it out through your mouth. One more like that. Fill up. Empty out. Shavasana. Take your legs out long, your arms out long. And choose a hand placement here that works for you. Either palms up, kind of in a receptive mode, receiving the gifts of your practice. If grounding is what you need here, palms down, or maybe even palms on your body. Allow your breath to return to a natural pace. And nothing to change about the breath, but just to notice. I'll share today's passage from Melody Beatty's Journey to the Heart, titled Claim Your Own Life. Claiming our own lives creates fulfillment and joy. We don't need to be controlled. We don't deserve to be repressed or stifled. We don't have to let anyone convince us that we do. We can trust ourselves. We know what we need. We know what we yearn for, and we long to be set free. What once seemed so overwhelming, creating and taking responsibility for our lives, wasn't really so. It was our belief that we couldn't do it, couldn't handle it, couldn't be trusted, that made it so. We create our own prison by believing that we're trapped or stuck. And we become controlled by believing that others know better than we do what is best for us. We're afraid to take responsibility for our own choices, and then we give up our power. Now is the time to step out, to leave the prison of fear. We can take responsibility for our lives, and we can take responsibility for what we create. We don't have to be afraid of making a mistake or doing something wrong. If we create a situation we don't like, we have the power to create something different. We're free to create the life that we want. We are free now to claim our own lives and create fulfillment and joy. And the truth is, we always have been. If your attention has strayed, simply bring it back to the breath. Begin to deepen your breath. Lengthen out your inhales. Lengthen out your exhale. And bring some movement back to the body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Circumduct your thumbs. Create some movement in your wrists and your ankles. Maybe your knees and your elbows. And if it feels right, make your way to a full body stretch, fingers one direction, toes in the other. And hug it all into center. Bring your knees to your forehead, one big squeeze. And rock over to your right side for infant's pose. Allow yourself to get supported and comfortable. Resting your forehead on your arm or maybe down on your mat. Give your body some gratitude for showing up and doing the work. The hardest part is getting here, getting on your mat. Send some gratitude to the yogis around you who did the same. Press your left hand into the floor to rise to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed or drishti settled right in front of you. Tug on your knees to sit up nice and tall. On an inhale, we sweep our arms to the ceiling. And exhale, hands to heart center. We'll end as we began together with 3 ohms. Breath in. Thumb knuckles rise to third eye center. We bow and acknowledge each other. Gratitude to each of you for showing up, doing the work, and showing up authentically. In doing so, allowing everyone else to do the same. Namaste. Awesome practice, guys. Wonderful. Thank you, Jeffrey, for joining us at home. Wonderful to have you here. Questions, comments, feedback, I am here for it. If you're interested in hearing about some more of or need details for some of the other things we have coming up in the studios, or again, you want to have that access conversation, I am here for it. See you all out front shortly.